Hello, everyone. This is Juan Ricardo of the band Dark Arena, and you're experiencing Poppitt's Corner.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Poppitt's Corner. And this is a very, very special one. I know I always keep saying that on every episode we've done, but it is, man. Look who we got. We got, obviously Mr. Shannon Fry. How you doing, sir?
I'm good.
And then, so the topic of the day's show is we're going to do the top 10 Heretic songs. And I figured, why not just get somebody from the Heretic camp? I want to, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Angelo Espino is joining us today. How you doing, man?
Dude, I am so good. And I'm fucking, I'm feeling good. I'm alive. I'm 57 years old, and I'm still playing rock and roll. So yeah, I'm blessed, man.
Absolutely, we're stoked.
And when I say blessed, I mean blessed by the fucking aliens. Okay, let's get that straight.
Absolutely, man. Well, this is going to be obviously it's going to hit closer to home for Mr. Angelo here. But I figured we would have some fun. Hopefully he can give us some little history lessons for the songs or how they were kind of written or what, he remembers, Heretic playing some of these back in the day and whatnot.
Hang on real quick.
Look at him. He's all,
hey, Brian. Yeah. Can you email me a history lesson of Heretic? No, you know what? I will do my best to represent the band.
Absolutely, man. And if you want to hear the Heretic stories, obviously I will be posting them up in the near future. Obviously, I got Brian Corbin's story and as well as Mr. Angelo Espino's story here. So that was a lot of fun. Appreciate that in advance. And let's get started. Who should go first, Shannon?
You know what, man? I'll go first. I'll start it off, and we'll let Angelo go next. All right. Okay, so my number 10 is off A Game You Cannot Win album from 2017, and it's called This World Called Hell. And to me, man, the pace of this song, it's that just the grooving, and it's heavy, man, and the vocals, they have this. For some reason, Julian has this way of singing that hits you in your gut. There's like this, it's like I can't really explain it. He's got a very unique voice. Doesn't matter which era, it's just so unique. But the way he sings this song kind of really, it gives it a feeling. You know what I mean? It's very hard to explain, but I think the song's killer.
I'm glad I'm kind of glad you picked that song as one of your songs because I think, obviously without giving my list away, because that song was the opening track of that record for a reason. I mean, when we were writing that record, as we're playing the songs and as we're getting them down, because I mean, obviously we fucking loved them all at the time. So it was hard to I think there were three on that record that we could have chose from, but we just felt that was just a really powerful, way to open up a record and just kind of like get your attention and say, oh, holy shit, this fucking band means business, and then kind of take it from there. So thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for that lesson.
Yeah.
But that's my number 10.
Cool.
Boom.
Go ahead, Angel. What's your number 10?
My number 10. Well, okay. Okay, so my list is not in fucking really in a top 10 order because you're asking me to
pick your kids.
Yeah, pick 10 of my 10 out of however many songs we have. But okay, so just on my list here, my number 10 song was okay. Let's put it this way. You know what I'm going to do? Let's play it like this. You said This World Called Hell.
Yeah.
That's on my list too, so I'm going to cross it off.
Right.
So that's how we're going to play this game. So it was on my list. So Tanner, you're up.
Wow. Okay. Well.
So, but when it's my turn, we'll figure it out. But you go next. Don't worry about your decision is not predicated on what we got going on here. So.
All right. Well, this is a new venture for me personally to do this way, but let's go with it. So, my number 10 is coming from it was a part of the reissues of the Breaking Point and the Torture Knows No Boundaries kind of box set.
Yeah,
but it's originally off of the Metal Massacre 7 release, and I'm choosing Impulse. I know this features Mike Towers or Mike Torres.
Mike Torres. Call him Mike Torres.
Okay, I don't know what to call him anymore, right?
Mike Towers was an alter ego that died.
Yeah.
He's Mike Torres.
Sure. But fucking 80s, right? But I really love his voice on this particular track. Obviously, he went on to Abattoir on a safe place. What the fuck is it? The second record. I always forget it. But it's only a safe place. Oh, there you go. So, but his vocals on this absolutely rule. This is kind of everybody's kind of first introduction to Heretic especially on a record itself. The riff is just slamming the tone. Bill Matoya's mix on this particular track. I always dug it. It's a great opening track to the compilation, and that is my number 10, Impulse.
Very cool.
Good choice.
All right, so I guess I'm
number
going
9.
again.
Number 9.
All right. So my number 9 is off the Breaking Point album. The 4th track called Enemy Within. To me, man, this chorus and the riff, the chorus just rules. The riff is just amazing. But this is one of those albums where, even though I'm a drummer, I'm not really even paying attention to the drums on that album, just for some reason. I mean, there's one song I do because it kind of sticks out, but most of it's just kind of just going, it's in the background sort of, so it doesn't really stick out. But to me, Heretic is more of a riff-oriented band anyway. So to me, man, that riff, it takes you. That's the only thing I can say.
There you go. Yeah, you know what? So that song, I don't think. I mean, I could be wrong. Back in the day, back in the mid to late 80s, and kind of into the time that Heretic kind of disbanded and kind of went on their own. I probably seen them play 100 times or more. And I saw them play from Mike Torres to Julian to Mike Howe to so I saw the whole thing. And Enemy Within was one of those songs that was kind of made for the record, never really played live. It's a great song. I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. I'm trying to figure this out. Okay, you point that way for that way. Anyway, I agree with you 100% that it, like I say, it's got that groove. It's not the typical riff oriented song. It definitely has a lot of feel to it. But that wasn't on my list. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with the number 10 on my list, or the one that kind of came to me last. But like I say, these are all in chronological order because I would have to say, I'm going to save a couple of them for my top songs, definitely. But I'm going to go with the Child of War. Child of War, to me, Brian's just a songwriting genius. Stuff just pours out of him. And that was one of those songs that it was like a throwback to early 80s metal, kind of that straightforward, Motorhead Saxon type of, just a crunchy riff, kind of upbeat and fun, a good chorus to chant to, Child of War, So that's my number 9.
And a cool video to match.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And if you guys are paying attention, go to the Hood's Got Talent on YouTube and type in Heretic, and you'll see obviously Child of War was the song that was kind of chosen for the I don't know, the video with
Diego, love you,
yeah,
brother.
I
Yeah.
love Diego, man.
It's killer.
It's awesome that Bill Matoya was the guy that kind of started with you guys, and now he's producing some of you guys' material even to this day. He's still kicking ass. So big shout out to Bill Matoya as well, right?
Yeah, Bill.
Absolutely. So my number 9 choice, I'm going to go off of the as I call them, the pneumonia sessions. No, I'm just messing, right? The Torture Knows No Boundaries EP. This is Julian had some. Obviously, when I got to speak with him, he told me that during those whole recording session that he was undergoing pneumonia or something at the time, and he literally couldn't sing. But because it was that specific time, this was kind of the block that he had to sing. So he couldn't reschedule this. So I'm going with Blood Will Tell. This is an absolute cruncher of a song. I know this is one of the first that Heretic kind of re-recorded when they got back together again. So maybe Angelo can kind of branch off at that point and tell us a little bit more on why that specific song. And there was a video to go along with it all these years later. I just really love the riff. I love Julian's vocal style on this particular record. I know I've kind of sound like a broken record when I say this, but his performance on this is like second to none, because it's so just like it's like his throat is being ripped out of him, and it just sounds that's what I like in my singers. You know what I mean? Like your voice, and that I try and pertain that to my vocals. It sounds like my voice is just ripping out of my throat, and that's fucking metal. So there you go. Blood Will Tell.
Well, so that okay. Julian was sick. Julian had no voice. They had studio time book, and it was like they, at the time, Metal Blade had spent a lot of money, to get them in the studio. But you listen to A Game and A Time of Crisis, and you hear Julian's voice on that. Obviously we're talking 25 years later, but and then like you listen back to if you can find any recordings of Stone Soldier or what was that band that he was with up in the Bay Area?
Hierophant. No, Laughing Dead. Is that what it is? Laughing Dead. Yeah. Okay. No,
I think so. No,
I think it was.
But you know what I'm talking about. So if you listen to his vocals on those, you can definitely tell that his vocal that wasn't Julian singing right there. But you're right. I think it was very unique. Unfortunately, it wasn't what he or the band wanted the world to hear, because that wasn't him. I think it's unique. I mean, you listen to. I love King Diamond, but come on. I love Megadeth, but come on. There are certain bands that their vocalist isn't the greatest vocalist in the world, but they've got a unique sound, and it's just like, you can fucking like, that. And I think that Torture Knows No Boundaries is kind of like infamous for that, because Julian's, like I say, he sounded very strainy. Like I say, but when you're sick, you've got bronchial issues and you can't fucking hit those notes, but it does sound very haunting, especially, like Whitechapel and like some of the songs like that. Just it did give it a little bit of an interesting flair, but definitely not what he was intending, like I say, for the world to hear. But can I number 9, man?
Appreciate it. Can I branch off of this though and just ask why that specific song when you guys kind of got back together again? Was this just like an introduction to be like, can we still play these songs? So let's just choose an old one to re-record and shoot a music video for?
I don't know. I'm really trying to think back. I don't remember, to be honest with you.
Okay. To shoot that black and white music video was just awesome. So, okay. Shannon, why don't you go ahead? Number 8? Are we on number 8 now?
Yeah. Ironically, though, as you guys were just talking about that, that song is my number 8.
Okay.
But yeah, but to add on to that, you can still tell that those vocals on that are Julian. You know what I mean? Like, even though they're strained and they're rough, like if you really listen, like they're still Julian. I still love it though. To me, man, I don't know. Those were some harsh, brutal vocals to be clean with, you know? Nowadays, to me, he's still one of my favorite singers. I'll say that to this day, he is. But that's kind of why I was so mad about when the incident here in Vegas happened, because I'm getting to see, not only you, but my one of my favorite singers, and then here I'm getting it taken away from me. But
Yeah.
anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to get off on that tangent, but yeah, but
Preach, brother,
blood will
preach.
tell. Blood will tell. That's my
Blood will
number
tell.
8.
Okay, so I had to cross Child and This World off, obviously, because I'm not going in any particular order. So the next one, I guess, like I said, mine's in chronological order, and I'm like I said, I set a couple songs aside for my top songs, but I think for my number 8, I'm going to go with Master at Her Game. What I liked about that song is it was a song that never. It was a big part of Heretic's repertoire back in the day. Like when you'd see Heretic live, Mastered Her Game was definitely a crowd favorite. It was definitely one of my, obviously top 10, songs to hear them play live. And like I say, it's just got a cool, it's got a cool, just rocking beat. It's just a fucking rock and roll, hard rock, heavy metal song. It's nothing more, nothing less. It's just like right there, and it is what it is. And I like the fact that it was a song that was written back in the day, and it just didn't make an album. And we felt that, you know what, this is the album to bring that song back. Because like you had mentioned on a time of crisis. We redid Heretic. And we redid your number 9 pick.
Blood Will Tell.
Blood Will Tell. Blood Will Tell. We didn't put on the record. Obviously, we wanted to use that one as a single or just as something, and it worked out because when Metal Blade Europe approached us and said, "Hey, we want to put out a catalog of your material," the Tortured and Broken box set that you were talking about earlier. Do you have any new material that you can use? And we're like, oh, fuck, I am so glad that we didn't put that song on that record. So now we have a 2012 version of Blood Will Tell. And, Merrick, I love you to death. In fact, I was in a band with Merrick before Heretic was ever Heretic, like back in like the early 80s. Iggy is just the most ridiculous drummer in the world. He just... his chops, the way he plays, just the way it was totally not Heretic. His drumming's not Heretic. It's not really 80s. It's definitely more late 90s to early 2000s type of metal. But just the way he plays, he woke that song up. And Blood Will Tell was a great song back in 1987, 86. It was a dynamic song in 2012. So, just my personal opinion. But yes, so yes, going off of, we said that, yeah, that's my 2 cents about that song.
Absolutely.
Right on.
All right. So my number 8 choice, I'm going to go off of, the A Time of Crisis record here. This is one that I might have seen them play once, maybe once. This is Police State. I really dig this jam.
This is a story about Police State. But
it's well, hopefully it's not a true story, but it's like it's just a crushing number. I just love the Police State. It's just kind of like a driving kind of like chorusy. And I've noticed that's kind of the shift with new Heretic as opposed to old, is that it's got more mid-paced, I guess, nowadays as compared to the young, angsty, fucking speed power metal that Breaking Point kind of had. So this is one of the jams that I absolutely love off this record that I would love to hear more of live. So Police State is my number 8.
Nice. So, all right, I'm going to move on then.
We're on to 7.
Yeah, number 7 off of A Game You Cannot Win, and it's the song Broken Hero. To me, this is one of those that bring me back to the 80s when it just has that style of 80s riff and it has that 80s vocal, like the way the vocals were pushed in the 80s, It's different than now. To me, it is. There was a specific way bands sang in the 80s with the way they were pronouncing the words and enunciating the syllables as they're going. And to me, this has that. It brings that back. So, yeah, Broken Hero.
Wow. You know what? Yeah. That song was one of our what was your number 8, Tam?
His
Police
was
State.
Police State.
Okay, Police State. So before we get on to you, let's go back to you. Police State was our record label, Metal on Metal, for that record. That was their favorite song off the record. In fact, when we played Headbangers Open Air in Germany, they asked us, would you please add that song to yours? Because that wasn't one of the songs that was really in our set. So we actually worked on it and played it for them. So your number 7 again was
Broken Hero.
Broken Hero. Okay, I fucking love that song. It didn't make my top 10. Like I said, it was hard. It was hard to pick 10 of these songs. Because just being a fan of the band for all those years, and then for the last 10 years, this is the 10th anniversary because I joined them in 2011. So this is I can't believe it's been 10 years, by the way, but I love that song. It's just it's got so much meaning. I mean, if you really listen to the lyrics, it's just about a guy who comes back with PTSD and nobody understands why he's the way he is. He sacrificed himself for his country and he came back with some really fucked up issues. Now he's a homeless guy. Now he's fucking schizophrenic and on the streets, and people don't really look at him as a hero. So that's why he's a broken hero. But I fucking love that song. It's just so anthemic, and it's just the chorus is just like one of those, especially when it goes into the halftime beat.
Yeah.
When it's just like when it breaks down to the just like broken down, we just kind of break it down before we go back into the moderate tempo beat. So. But yeah. Thank you for picking that song. Like I say, it wasn't on my list, but man, just a fucking, just a song that's really close to my heart. So, like I say, I'm going off the top here. So if we're on number 7 right now, I'm going to say, I'm going to go with Blood Will Tell. I know that one was probably already chosen, but I just love that song, and especially that lady, like we talked about the updated, the 2012 version of it. It's just a fun song to play. It's it's riffy but not too riffy. It kind of sticks to a pattern, and it's just like I said, it's just one of those fun songs to play. It's one of those up tempo songs where you could be exhausted as fuck, halfway through the set or towards the end of the set, but you can come on with that one, and it's just But we actually open up. That's usually our second song of the set because it's when whatever we decide to open up with, we figured that's a good song to follow up because it kind of just it's still another up tempo song and it's got a good flow to it and stuff like that. So that would be my number 7.
Nice.
Love it. All right. So my number 7 is going to be, it's going to come off the Time of Crisis record here, and it's the title track, A Time of Crisis. And yeah, the chorus alone, I think, rules. I think this is an underrated jam on this particular record. Never heard this particular track live. The riff rules. I just love Julian. To me, is one of, and it's no slouch to any of the other members of Heretic, but to me, Julian really shines on this particular record for me. And I just always have felt he's, as far as an 80s kind of style, or just call him a singer, he's just super underrated when it comes to I don't know, metal singers in general. He's always been one of my favorites. So I think this track, he's really kind of shining through on his vocals. So yeah, Time of Crisis. It's a great chorus too.
I wrote that song.
Okay.
Don't tell anybody. No, you know what? It was funny because that song almost didn't make the record. Ironically, that it ended up being the title track, because I mean, if you listen to that song, that is so fucking anti-Heretic. I mean, it's a punk rock song. You know, it's a song. It was a riff that I want to say that I was an Uncle Slam at the time. And it was a riff that I was kind of like working on then, because Uncle Slam was a little bit more of a crossover, crossover metal punk type, punk metal type band. And that's not what I grew up playing. I grew up, playing, like traditional metal, listening to traditional metal. So it was really hard for me. So I kind of metalized that song, I guess you want to call it, but like I said, when you listen to it, it's just the way it's got that it's kind of it's got kind of a punk feel to it. So it's that's always been kind of I've always in my head going, how did that become the fucking title track? But yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's a great number 7, man. Thank you.
There you go. All right, Shannon, we are up, sir. Number 6.
Okay, so my number 6 is the song.
Sorry,
the song Whitechapel.
Oh,
The song Whitechapel off of
Torture Knows No Boundaries.
Yeah. So this one's very grooving riff. No matter what. If you're listening in the background, if you're listening in the foreground, it doesn't matter. You're still bobbing your head. It's just got that riff and the vocals. Again, this is one of his shining moments to me back in the day, even though he had pneumonia or whatever. But the vocals, man, are dark. They are dark on this song. And yeah, the drums and the bass just rock out in the background and just set the mood, and they let the guitar and the vocals do their thing in this one. So yeah, Whitechapel. That's my number 6.
Yeah, you know what? That live, like back in the day when I was in the audience, the fan, that was always one of my favorite songs to watch them play live, because just the theatrics. Figure. Back then, that lineup of Dennis, Merrick, Brian, and Bobby. Regardless of who was on vocals, because I saw him 100 times with Mike Torres, so that was back in like the Metal Massacre and Torture was in 86, so that must have been 84, 85, before they actually got signed, when they were still playing the club circuit. So I saw a lot of shows with Mike Torres singing. I saw a lot of shows with Julian, singing. I saw a handful of shows with Mike Howe. I wish I had seen more, but I was kind of off doing my own thing at that time. I think I might have been with Predator, or maybe even Dissenter at the time. I don't remember. Like I say, it's just kind of going back. I'd have to really dig into it, but what did you say? What song?
Whitechapel.
Whitechapel. Okay, yes. So Whitechapel to me was just always one of those crowd favorites, and it was just like I say, it was one of those fun songs to listen to because you're telling a story. It's basically
Jack the
Jack the
Ripper, right?
Ripper. Exactly, because that's where all his murders. That's where all the murders took place was in Whitechapel, England.
Right.
So yeah, that's a great number six. That's a great number six. But yeah, like I say, always one of my favorite songs to see live. It just had a lot of. Boom. Okay, so I guess my number six. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna go with this one here because this one definitely needs to be in my top five. So I'm gonna go with Remains, and one of my favorite things about Remains, number one, it's the first song that I learned when Heretic got back together. Before obviously before we recorded the record, when Glenn had really kind of said, "Hey, Brian," because Glenn was just coming off Hyrax and he said, "Hey, Brian, I mean, God, I've been to Japan, I've been to, she's been telling everything that Hyrax was doing," and he says, "Let's put Heretic back together." Bob's obviously in Texas now, so he wasn't really an option. So him and Glenn kind of like started working stuff out, and Glenn got his a good friend of his. Please help me with his name if you know it, Danny.
Oh, Danny Anaya?
No, on bass. Anyway, this guy played with Glenn in some of the Christian metal bands that he had done. So he'd kind of come in and did like a couple of, because at the time, Heretic did a couple reunion shows when I was in Bitch, and it was Heretic, Bitch, and Malice. We did like a little mini Metal Massacre tour because all three of us were on a Metal Massacre, Metal Blade Metal Massacre record. So when we did that show, it was just like instantaneously because I hadn't seen Julian in years. I hadn't seen Brian in years. I can't remember who was playing drums for them at the time. But it was just so amazing till I run into these guys, and I basically joined the band that night because they're like, oh my God, it wouldn't it be great if, because Brian and I had done Reverend together, and we were saying, wouldn't it be great if we got the band back together, and it was just like that night we knew, but Heretic's getting back together, and Angelo's the new bass player, but that was the first song that Brian had showed us as kind of a new band getting back together was Remain. So that's and I love the story that it tells. That tells a story about a guy whose life is just fucking his chick cheats on him, and he just his life is shit, and he decides that he's going to kill her, and he kills her and then kills himself, and basically it's a letter that he's writing to his parents saying, hey, I'm not the perfect kid that you thought I was going to grow up to be. When my body comes back from the fucking morgue, do what you will with my remains. If you want to just fucking leave them there or whatever, So that's kind of like I said, it's a pretty fucking morbid tale, but like I say, it's an emotional song to me because that was the first song that we wrote as
sure.
Heretic, back in 2011. So that's my number 6.
Absolutely. And I think the bass player you were thinking of is Daniel Cordova.
Daniel Cordova. Thank you. Sorry, Danny.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, Danny. Yeah, Daniel Cordova.
All righty. So I'm going to go off of the A Game You Cannot Win for my number 6 choice. I'm going to try and speed up things here. But I'm going to go with Before the Fall. Another crushing chorus, another killer fucking riff. Mid-tempo is all fuck. And again, it's another banger. It's I don't know, man. There's a lot more mid-tempo songs on A Game You Cannot Win compared to, say, the rest of you guys' catalog. So it just so happens to be some of my favorite tracks. So yeah, Before the Fall.
Yeah, thank you. Another one of my songs. I'm ingratiated, I guess would be the word that comes to mind. It's just a fun song, It's just, it's just a very kind of choppy, very machine gunny type of thing. So yeah, good number 6.
Shannon, you're up, sir. Number 5.
All right.
Number 5.
All right.
Top five.
My number 5 is one you already chose, off Time of Crisis, and it's the song Police State. I believe that was your number 9. Anyway, to me, man, like you guys have already said before, it's catchy as hell. And then another one of those riffs that just take you back to the 80s. It's just got that feel. So
Absolutely.
yeah, man, that's my number 5, Police State.
Great choice, sir. All righty, Angela, what's your number 5?
My number 5. Okay, guy, here we go. I fucking love this song, and I'm so bummed out that we've never played it live. We'll probably never play it live. I've advocated for the song for fucking years. Okay, Raise Your Fist off of A Time of Crisis.
Yeah,
it's just the riff, the little hammer-on riff. Very upbeat, very, and then it breaks down to when it goes into the pre-chorus. It's just such a driving song. It's such a good song to play, and we don't, and it just bums me out. So that would be that starts my top 5. That starts my top 5.
All righty. So we've already talked about this particular track, but I'm going to mention it anyways. My number 5 is Broken Hero. Obviously, we've already said enough about this particular track. So what I will say lastly on it is this is a song where it kind of like, so I heard Time of Crisis and I was like, this sounds awesome, but it sounds like a record that's like, it's you can tell it's a band that's kind of come back and is kind of striving to be stuck in the 80s. And I felt with A Game You Cannot Win, this was like a total kind of 180 on that, because they took where it was a band that kind of took chances. And this particular track, I just love the fact that they did a ballady sort of track that they haven't done for 30 fucking years. So there you go. That's all I'm going to add to it. So anyway, number 4.
All right, my number 4 is another one that was already chosen by Angelo, and to me, it's Time of Crisis, title track of Time of Crisis.
That was me.
Okay.
That was Poppitt up there in the.
All right, sorry.
No, you're good, man. Go ahead.
All right, but yeah, man, this is one of those angry vocals that just rock, that just plod along and just kick your ass as it's going. This is one of my favorite songs, just in general. And as a matter of fact, I just want to say this because a lot of my songs are off this particular album. But I used to work as a sign holder, selling to lead people to new houses, to new developments. And I would just listen to this album and the Anvil album, Juggernaut of Justice, over and over and over and over. So this was one of those, just start spinning the song, spinning the sign, and here's Time of Crisis kicking ass, right? So
I'm humble, man. Kinda, fucking love you, man.
Right on. But that's my number 4.
Oh my God.
Hopefully you don't get nightmares listening to Time of Crisis nowadays. It's gonna remind you of fucking holding that sign.
I didn't mind it at all because I was good at it. Military thing,
All right, Angela, what's your number 4, sir?
Fuck, dude. So this is hard. So I put asterisk. You can't really see it. I put asterisks next to 4 of the songs. So I figured I had 6 to play with, and like I say, I kind of went like unorthodox, off the normal path here, but I've got 4 songs to choose from here, and they're all my favorite song. So I'm just going to give you one, and that's going to be Whitechapel. We already talked about it. Like I said, just Whitechapel is just it's just it screams Heretic. It's kind of like one of those songs that when we play, oh yeah, I know, I recognize the song, or I know the song, or I remember the song. But yeah, it's a Whitechapel for me.
And I'm going to go off of this point, and I'm glad you brought up Whitechapel again, so I could go off of this point. In interviewing Julian, I think this was the first song that KNEC played for on the radio. So this was almost the first Heretic song that got played on the radio. So I just want to throw that out there too, according to the sources that according to Julian. He's my source right now. All right, so
I believe you may be right.
So number 4 is, I'm going to go off of the Breaking Point album. This is a song that when I talked to Brian Corbin, I think his mom said, you guys have finally done something that's like fucking amazing, I guess, essentially, in those words. This is Time Runs Short. I know this was Brian's mom's favorite track from Heretic, and this is one of mine. Love Mike Howe's delivery on this. I've always wondered kind of how Breaking Point would have sounded with Julian, but at the same time too, I think Mike Howe does a fantastic job singing it. So Time Runs Short.
Yeah, I kind of did the same thing that you did today. Like I said, I put my top 10 together last minute, but I was going down kind of like listening, to cuts track by track, obviously some I didn't need to listen to, the ones that we play, but, Pale Shelter or Time Runs Short, or, like a few of those type of songs, and just like, yeah, they're kind of like the lost tracks, or, the deep tracks, stuff that you really don't think about, and that's a fucking great deep track. But it didn't make my list, but I kind of like when I was going down the list, I kind of like I thought of that song and I go, wow, I forget about this song. So, all right, good number 4.
Shannon, number 3.
All right, my number 3 is off time.
Number 3.
On Child of War. And like was already said, it's a heavy song. It's a great guitar riff. There's great vocals. Chorus is catchy as all get out.
And
the video is awesome.
Play, man. I'm telling you.
Right on. But yeah, that's my number 3.
Awesome. Angelo, give us one of your tops for number 3.
Okay, so I am gonna go with. Oh God, this is a tough one. Money, mo. I'm gonna take Impulse off the list. Like I said, we already talked about Impulse. Metal Masker 7, Mike Torres. Just the perfect song for that record. The perfect song for Mike's voice. Mike's voice was unique. Obviously, if you listen to the Abattoir stuff and the stuff he did with Boa, I don't know if Boa ever recorded a record, but I know they did some recordings together. And Mike Torres has got a very unique voice. I'm going with Impulse.
Cool. All right. It's funny that Shannon had this as his number 3, because this is my number 3, and this is Child of War. This was the first song that I had ever heard from Heretic. This was because of the video. I remember the rehearsal style video, them walking down the fucking.
Fred.
What's up?
Fred.
Yeah.
Freddie Metal.
Yeah. I don't remember who directed it, but I'm saying I remember the video of you guys walking down the hallway, picking up your instruments, and this was literally my first introduction to Heretic, and this is definitely, this is a staple in the career of Heretic. This is one that literally they kind of have to play every fucking show, whether they get sick of it or not. This is kind of like their song, in my opinion. not necessarily to say that, Whitechapel isn't their song, but this is another one that's kind of like a Whitechapel. This is a song that literally has to stay in the set list. And I mean, if they choose to do so or not, that's up to them. But this is definitely a fan favorite song, and especially one for me. So yeah, Child of War.
Well, if you go to if you go to our we shut our webpage down. At this particular point, in the band's life, whatever
career, yeah,
career. A website is just so unnecessary. I mean, it is and it isn't, because more people are on Facebook, more people on Instagram. We don't have a TikTok. I don't think we'll have a TikTok, because that's pretty fucking Gen Y shit. No offense, Gen Yers.
Who gives a shit?
yeah. I guess, but
no Gen Ys are listening to or watching this show, so it doesn't matter anyways. But so go ahead.
But anyway, if you go to our Instagram or our Facebook page, and Heretic Metal, just type in Heretic Metal, you'll see the fucking big old H. You'll see the fucking and there's a cut, like, well, we put the entire performance that we did at the Whiskey with Hyrax and Evil Dead. So the entire performance is up, but we did Trial of War, and it's just one of those songs that's always going to be in the set. Like you said, it like, if you don't play it, you're like, oh fuck, that's like Judas Priest not playing fucking Victim of Changes or something,
breaking the law.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that
Living After Midnight. It's just one of those tracks that's like,
you're gonna play it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, all right, Shannon, number 2, sir. We're down to top 2.
All right.
Wire.
This is going to be, we got a couple more minutes, so let's definitely knock it out of the park, guys. Number 2.
On. So mine's off of the Breaking Point album from '88, and it's the song King and Kingdoms Fall. And just amazing, great vocals, really catchy chorus. The riff, man, this is another one of those Brian riffs that just kick so much ass. It just keeps you plodding, man, and another one of those where you're just bobbing your head because it's so damn catchy. So Mike Howe's vocals on that are very good, man. I think that was one of his shining points of his career to me. But and Kingdoms Fall. That's my number 2.
Okay, so without fucking spoiling anything, not that anybody gives a shit. We just added that back to our set.
Nice.
I think we might have played that song very, very early on. Obviously before we had written A Time of Crisis, when the band first got back together. I mean, all we had was the back catalog, and that was in there. Oh my God, what else was in there? I can say, but anyway, yes. Thank you. Yeah. It didn't make my list, but yeah, that song, yeah, love that, playing that song. Boom.
So okay, Angelo, go for it. Number 2, sir.
My number two is going to be Heretic.
Oh, nice choice.
It's the band's anthem. It should have been my number 1. Like I say, my number 1 it just represents everything that I stand for, musically and in my style. But yeah, Heretic for me is going to be my number 2, our anthem.
There you go. All right, great choice, sir. All right, so my number 2 is a song that literally I've been wanting to see you guys play this live since the moment I started to see you guys play live, and it's coming off of the Torture Knows No Boundaries. Angelo's going to know where I'm coming from. This is Portrait of Faith, one of the greatest riffs in Heretic's career, in my personal opinion. The riff just rules. I know we're like Beavis and Butthead on this show today, but it's like we're like humming all the fucking riffs, but it's one of those songs that's like, oh man, his vocal delivery to me, this is kind of the top of the heap in early Julian history for Heretic, especially on this, The Torture Knows No Boundaries. I think the best vocal performance to me is on this song. Yeah, so there you go. Portrait of Faith, a song I've always wanted to hear live, and hopefully I will get to see one of these days.
That might be added back to the set as well.
So no spoilers here, right?
Number two,
Shannon.
Number twos are done. Number
one.
Hang on,
number one.
Real quick. Hang on.
So,
can you see me?
Yep. He's all. Oh, the drum roll, yeah. Well, you kind of need Shannon to do that since he's the drummer. He's got to get his drumsticks out. But all right, Shannon, why don't you go with your number one, boss?
All right.
With the drum roll there, number one.
Number one. This one's both on Breaking Point album and The Time of Crisis. To me, this is the greatest Heretic song ever written. The song Heretic. And man, to me, I love both vocalists singing this. But to me, this is a Julian song. I think Julian just tears it up on this, man. It's just got so much heart and so much soul, which is one thing I love about his vocals. But the riff on this, too, is just gigantic, man. The vocal, the approach is good. The melody is good. The drumming kick-ass. I really think that the drummer on Time of Crisis, the drummer had this really unique style to add to he made this kind of his own too. Even though he followed the original formula, he still made it his own. So, but to me, man, I just think it's great song, Heretic.
Yeah. Obviously my number two, I probably should have, like I said, I probably should have and could have made that my number one song. But this song just, like I say, it doesn't Heretic is the number one song. I mean, it's the band's anthem. So that definitely is number one. But I chose this song just because of just the up tempo-ness of the song. Just it's me. It's what Angelo Espino grew up playing and listening to, and that's Let 'Em Bleed. That's Let 'Em Bleed. It's just it's got every element of 80s metal that you can ask for. It's up tempo. It's riffy. It's very simple. It's a very simple song, but it sounds busy. It's my favorite song to play, and I'm bummed that that's not a regular song in our set, because you've probably never heard us play it, and I've been advocating for that song for fucking years. That is my that and Heretic are they're tied for number one. So boom.
Absolutely. And this features a music video, I believe, for it off Crash and Burn. So I want to throw that out there too. I think there is an actual music video for Let 'Em Bleed, if I'm not mistaken. So don't quote me on it.
No, you are correct. You are correct. Thank you for bringing that up, because I completely forgot about that.
So, all right, my number one is gonna shock. I hope I don't think shock is the right word. That word is overused, but this is kind of gonna come out of left field. How about that? I'm gonna go off the Breaking Point album, and I'm gonna literally, this is my all-time favorite Heretic song. This is Shifting Fire. The riff just rules. Coming out of Pale Shelter. Oh my God, dude. You're shifting fire. It just sounds so mean. Yeah, it just sounds so fucking mean. And I'm like, this song is godly, dude. So yeah, my number one absolutely is Shifting Fire. I know this is a Dennis O'Hara song, but the fucking riff rules, and God damn it, the song rules. So there you go. It's my number one.
No, you know what? Great choice. I grew up with Dennis. I've known Dennis since we were, teenagers. I've known everybody in this, Bobby, Julian, Brian. I've known all these guys. Merrick, I've known all these guys since we were teenagers. In fact, me, and this is kind of funny, me, Bob Marquez, Merrick, and Mike Torres had a band. We didn't have a name. We had like maybe 5 songs. They were just original songs that mostly Bob wrote, and we used to play in this like self-storage place, and kind of just I don't know what happened. The band stopped. We kind of like drifted apart, not as friends, but just as that band. And funny how the core of that became, Heretic. And so I've always had an invested interest in Heretic and in the band, like I say, as a fan, and to have been able, to have been asked to join the band was a life-changing moment for me. It's like being asked to join one of your favorite bands growing up. So, yeah. A great top 10 from everybody. Like I say, there was some surprises in there that I probably overlooked. Like I say, some deep tracks. Like I said, both of you had some pretty deep tracks that I think I'd mentioned that were like, oh yeah, that's like, yeah, song you would never hear live, but a good song to listen to on a record.
Rules, man. Well, dude, so that's going to do it for us, obviously, for the top 10. But before we get out of here, obviously, Shannon, what do you have coming up? Angelo, what do you have coming up, man? What's going on in you guys' world before we get out of here?
Well, we're still finishing the recording of the first album. Nothing's changed. Just going slow, taking our time. No updates.
Okay. Angelo, what do you got for us, buddy? What do you got going on?
It's been an interesting month for me, to say the least. I don't want to get into too much, but as a band, we're just trying to push forward. 2020 was actually a bit of a blessing because it gave us a lot of time to work out the songs, and we had definitely more than what's going to be on the record, but it definitely gave us some time to put the songs together that we decided on and really kind of work them out and really, and we've got, like I said, live in-room recordings of them all, as working demos. But we're pretty proud of everything. So, we're hoping for a 2022 release and stuff like that. But yeah. But I do want to say, thank you, Shannon. Thank you, Tanner, obviously, for having us on. But I met Shannon in Milwaukee, or no, Minneapolis. Oh God, that was 2005. 2004, 2005, right around that area.
2005, yeah, well, 2005.
And we did that festival, and then a month later, very shortly thereafter, I know we did a show in Vegas together, and we stayed in contact, So this was a thrill to me because I haven't seen Shannon like live, in several years. So this was an absolute treat for me. So brother, fucking dude, great to see you. And Tanner, I think Tanner's one of the most talented young up and coming musicians, radio hosts that metal has to offer. He pulls no punches. He fucking, he's not afraid to ask the tough questions, and he's just an amazing, not only an amazing guitar player and vocalist, but an amazing human being. And this is an honor to be, invited to your show again. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. I really appreciate the kind words, gentlemen. And of course, let's, in the near future, hopefully this isn't the last time we do this. We'll bring you back on again, and we'll do a top 5, maybe of one of our favorite bands collectively, right? To where either I'm not in it, or Angelo's not in it, or Shannon's not in it, right? But we'll get you guys back on the show again. Make sure to go to No Life to Metal Records, and I'm going to just whore out my band too. Pick up some Madross merch there, Charring the Rotting Earth and Maleficent, and there might be something coming up for that record. I don't know. I'm not going to speculate anything as of yet, but I'm hoping for one, but we'll see. But yeah, make sure to go support Heretic, and of course, Avenger of Blood, Madross, all of us. And we look forward to doing this again. So another episode of Poppitt's Corner, guys. We're out of here.
Cheers. Everyone.
Yeah.